Hi, hi. Choose an adjective, put it into the chat on how you feel this evening. Go on, let's have a, how is everybody? Hi, Joe, nice to see you. Just let everybody in, we've got a couple of minutes. Michelle, why are you buzzing?
Oh, because I made group leader.
Congratulations, that is amazing.
Thank you.
I got a message today with about 17 celebratory trumpet, party things.
Join me for a series to explore some superb food experiences.
Somebody needs to mute their telly in the background. That would be good.
Get ready for real.
There we go. Tired but happy to be here. Nice to know, Lorraine. That's nice. Physically blur, but excited to get started with April. Oh no, what's the matter, Hazel?
Next time on Home and Away.
Just women's problems.
Telly. I'm just going to mute everyone. There we go.
Sorry, it's me.
That's all right. That's fine. Go on, loads. I'm just repetitive strain injury, letting everybody in now. For those of you who've just joined us, we're just putting an adjective in the chat that describes how you are this evening. Okay, so Hazel, you all right? You're not keeling over with something, are you? I hope not.
What's?
Oh. So just pick a word that describes how you are this evening. Oh, it's nice to see lots of messages in there. Yeah, I love the sun as well today, Michelle. Absolutely gorgeous. Right. Hello, everybody. Nice to have everybody with their cameras on as well. It's always nice to actually see you. Focused. Nice word, Harriet. Invigorated. Nice, Dee. I like that. Good news. I feel slightly relieved, I think. I had a really nice working day, and then I took my just on Sunday 17-year-old out for a second driving lesson, which 2 driving lessons in 48 hours is a little bit stressful. I haven't yet resorted to the gym, but it was, we drove around the park and ride car park, which is great because nobody's parking and riding at the moment, but there were a couple of moments and she's realised that it's quite hard to talk and drive and steer at the same time. Do you remember that phase? Oh, goodness. So I'm just relieved to be sitting in a chair and not in a driving seat, to be honest, right now. It's going to be my life for a little while. Right, millions and millions of you. We're going to start. I'm going to screen share. Really looking forward to tonight, actually. I think it's going to be a really nice theme. And we're obviously between our 2 wellbeing guides, because whilst absolutely still be dishing out the wellbeing guide that we've had in January, I'm certainly going to be using those as little brochures to send out to people with orders or, for workshops with samples and things like that. Our new one will come at the beginning of May. So we've got a month where actually we haven't got a double-page spread in the wellbeing guide that will kind of focus us in on the workshop. So it's the perfect time, I think, to be talking about the heritage products. And obviously, April is also our 12th anniversary in NYR Organic, and the beginning of the 40th anniversary celebrations for Neil Judd Remedies. So I think April, from that perspective, is a perfect time to be talking about heritage stuff as well. And it's been really lovely doing the research for this one. I've asked a couple of people for some background stories. So I hope you really enjoy what I've prepared for tonight. So if I just screen share a few things. And I think what's lovely about this particular product range is we're introducing people to products that absolutely we are highlighting the features and benefits for them as we would in any other workshop theme, but to give them a bit of background story on the brand is really nice, and a little bit of the story of where we come from. And so it's less about a focus on their particular skincare needs and more about just kind of telling the story of who we are as a brand, and just being proud of that, because from 40 years ago, if you think about it, you know, Neal's Yard Remedies flew in the face of the trends at that time, and really at a time when there was a lot more focus on lab technology in skincare. Romy Fraser, who set up this company, just completely did the opposite and harnessed the power of herbs and essential oils in her products. And now 40 years later, of course, it's all very on trend and in vogue. So what I've done here is for the slides tonight, I've literally screenshotted the cue cards that I've created for you. So you don't need to make notes of anything that's written on the screen, because the cue cards will go into my Facebook group. They'll go into belovelies.com after tonight's training. So I'll add them to files in the Facebook group. They'll be in belovelies.com, and the video will be uploaded into our team YouTube channel. So you can access it, watch it as many times as you like. But I'm really glad that you guys are here live, because I think actually there's something about being prepped for this month and having tonight kind of getting your head round what we're going to focus on with our customers before we have Thursday's company kickoff of the 40th celebrations. So you'll be able to see a little bit how the two events, tonight and Thursday, dovetail together a little bit. So without further ado, what I've done as your first cue card is put some background story of the company that perhaps you don't know. I just thought, you know, we've got a lot of information in our catalogue about our brand in terms of who we are and our brand ethos, but there's a little bit of history here. And I didn't know whether many of you, I mean, put it into the chat. Did you know that originally we were called Neal's Yard Apothecary? So it was literally a little apothecary shop set up by Romy Fraser in a quirky corner of Covent Garden called Neal's Yard. And that area used to be the storage space, the warehousing for the old Covent Garden market. And when they took the market to its new venue where it is now, that area was rejuvenated, as it says there in the notes, by a guy called Nick Saunders. And what he had was the opportunity to convert some of the warehousing into shop space. And he offered that to small businesses of people that he knew. And Romy was one of those people who took up that opportunity to have her shop there. That's the reason why it's called Neal's Yard. It was just because that was the original place where her apothecary was opened. So as we're talking and as I'm doing this, please feel free to comment in the chat. It would be lovely to have interaction that way, because it's hard when there are so many of us on training for everyone to be able to you know, kind of unmute and comment. So please do put things in the chat and I'll pause every now and again and have a read. So Romy absolutely harnessed, as I said, harnessed the power of herbs and essential oils. I just love that. My pull-up banner that I have gathering dust at the moment because I use it for fairs and events, which of course we haven't been doing. It actually says on it, powered by herbs, with a bottle of our products, just kind of pouring ingredients into the top of this blue bottle. And I love that phrase that Romy was just creating products that were powered by herbs. And then a couple of days a week, she had a herbalist in the shop. And on those 2 days, there would be queues around the block for people to speak to that herbalist about particular conditions they had, or, you know, I've got a really itchy scalp. Can you make me up something that would be good for that? And obviously that herbalist was using loads of the ingredients that Romy was using in her products, but more in a bespoke, really attention to the customer kind of way. And because there were queues around the block, Romy thought, you know, the desire for products that contain these herbs that are going to solve the issues that people have is so strong. I'm going to start creating them for everybody's benefit. And the first one that we're going to use in the facial routine that I've created for part of this heritage workshop is Calendula Cleanser, and that one actually goes all the way back to 1981. And calendula, of course, is so healing and it's so soothing and reassuring to the skin. You can imagine that calendula would have been a key ingredient in the products that were being made for those people queuing around the block. I love it. So actually, many of those products were either developed on from there and are part of our product line today, or they were part of that original product lines, you know, like Calendula Cleanser, which is really lovely. And actually, you know, that's exactly what we're doing. I think in our part of the company, more than in any other, customers are still coming to us with specific concerns, particular conditions that they want to address. They want to talk through, so, you know, what is a toner, and do I need a moisturizer and a serum? Those kind of questions come up, and we're still offering that same personal service with our products and natural remedies, which, you know, some of which are the original ones that solved those people's concerns in the early 80s. I'd love to know into the chat, how old were you in 1981? How old was I? I was 22 that year, in the November of that year. How old were you in 1981? I bet some of you weren't even born, you ratbags. The blue glass, which is so iconic to our brand. Romy chose blue glass over brown glass very early on. She just loved the blue. And that blue glass is naturally preserving of the product because it reflects away the sunlight. So it's protecting the natural ingredients from UV light, which would cause the products to deteriorate. So right from the very beginning, the blue glass was part of the brand and is still an iconic part of our brand today. So I'm just seeing the chat going nuts. So I'm just going to have a quick look and see what you've got there. Ness was -11. That's ridiculous. Okay, Leslie, thank you for being around the same age as I was at the time. And Cindy, that's nice. Rita, you were born that year. That's amazing. I used to say to the kids when they said, you know, what, when they were little, where was I when you did that? Oh, you were still God's secret. So some of you were still God's secret when Romy opened that original shop. Right, let's have a look. There's lots of words about how you feel today. Remember that time. Was anybody there in 1980s? Did you go to the original Covent Garden store? Put that into the chat if you did. And Cindy, I completely agree with you. It is a completely beautiful place to visit, and the Covent Garden store is still in that same quadrangle courtyard. It's just beautiful. Yeah, so plan to do it. Go. For me, it feels like Neal's Yard Remedies Mecca to go there and just to wander around the shop. It's beautiful. Dee, yeah, completely agree. That personal relationship with customers is so important. And I think, you know, as I was typing that really inspired me. You know, we're sometimes irritated by or threatened by the other legs of the business, and you know what they offer that we can't, or what's different and from us. Actually, no other part of the brand offers that personalized bespoke service that is right back in our heritage of 40 years ago in such a strong way as we do as consultants. So I think that's the thing to be really celebrated and maximized. Let's be different from all the other channels. Dee's going to have a team trip on when they're allowed. I love it. You went in 1987, Lorraine. Love it. Awesome. Yeah, okay, good. And those of you who have been to the Covent Garden store, as some of the other stores around the UK, you'll see that there are rows and rows of jars of everything from frankincense. I bought my frankincense resin there for a display. So when you go, get some of those. Rosebuds, dried chamomile, you know, everything you could imagine in the herbs, and they still sell them in little gram bags. So it's like the Neal's Yard Remedies version of an old-fashioned sweet shop. It's just delicious. So you know, maybe you'll want to think about getting some things like that for display when you go. But so much then of the original brand is still very much part of who we are today. Obviously, with the development and formulation of our products increasing all the time. So I've kind of put quite a lot of that on the card, and hopefully as you're reading some of it to your customers when you're doing your workshop, some of the other things that I've told you will come to mind. You'll, you know, just kind of bring the story to life. But what I thought would be lovely, you'll see as I bring the heritage products together how this is going to work, is that you start with a foot soak with the rosemary and elderflower shower gel. And I'm going to talk you through the cards in a minute with all the different product information. But actually, wouldn't it be lovely to have everybody's feet in a foot soak with that shower gel, and then listen to a bit of background on the 40-year journey? You can use the card that I've produced for you. You can add information from our catalogues or the website. It's up to you. But actually also take that opportunity to tell a little bit of your own story with Neal Jard Remedies. You know, why did you join as a consultant? How long ago was that? What changes have you seen? And one of the things that I'm going to be telling my customers, I joined 11 years ago. It'll be 12 years in July. And we had 93 products in the catalogue at that point. We had no downloads. We had no training program. Nobody'd invented all the stuff that we've got now that's available in terms of webinar information and all the rest of it. And now we have over 300 products in our catalogue and all the wealth of training and resources. And when I look back on that time, you know, it just feels like we were groundbreaking. And so much of what we achieved in those early days wasn't about the resources that were offered to us. It was about our mindset and a determination to take these products to people that didn't know that they wanted them yet. And I just think it's delightful for us to be able to get groups of people together and begin to help them do their journey with organic choices. And shower gel is one of the ones that I think often comes after face products. So obviously our starter kit introduces people to facial products. And then I encourage customers to think about what their next organic choice is going to be. So maybe that's a question you want to bring in at some point in your workshop. Just kind of, now that you've begun your journey with organic, and Neal Jard Remedies, I've told you a bit about the 40-year journey and the journey I've done with this brand. What next choice do you want to make in your journey with Neal Jard Remedies? What additional switching over would you like to do when product runs out? So we've got rosemary and elderflower shower gel. You're getting a sneaky peek at some of the products. Arnica salve is another heritage timeline favourite. I just thought it'd be so nice to have a bit of time to rub that into some nice warmed up and foot soaked feet, and then enjoy the fragrance of the relaxation remedy to roll before starting a facial process with heritage products, which I'm going to go through as we do tonight's training. Then we're going to follow up with a bit of chat about the Wild Rose Beauty Balm and the Be Lovely hand cream. And I'm just going to suggest that probably once you've got the Arnica salve and the rosemary and elderflower shower gel and the facial products, you won't need to sample these two. And probably quite a lot of your customers will have come across that fragrance of Be Lovely and Wild Rose Beauty Balm. It's one of those ones that I think most customers would be familiar with. It's up to you. You can sample them if you want to. But actually what I've done is I've included them as part of the timeline because Wild Rose Beauty Balm is an iconic product, and Be Lovely is a perfect one to talk about our campaigning brand and how as a business we can make a difference to environmental issues like looking after the bees. So that's why I've included them in this heritage timeline. And then we finish up with inhaling the fragrance of English lavender essential oil. And then actually that little tester strip, if you put it onto one of the scent strips that's in business tools, they can slip that into their pillowcase for the night after they've been to your workshop, which would be a nice way to take the workshop on into their night's sleep. So slight pause to have a look at the chat for a moment, and I just would love you to put into the chat what you think about that process. Obviously you haven't seen the facial process yet, but how are we feeling about that journey with these products? And then we'll get into the product training themselves of the individual products.
Oh, no.
What do we think? Not sure how to sample the salve, Sandra. I don't want to part with mine. Sharing. Sandra, I'm just going to be putting that into a little sample pot, you know, the little ones that are 10 for £1 in business tools. So have a look. Good. Like the pillowcase idea. Good. Yeah, foot soaks are well received. That's nice. Tanya likes the journey. Yeah, good. Like the idea of making, what's your next organic choice going to be? Swapping out, for instance, shower gel, or maybe it's one of the facial products. We shall see. You're just going to give them just a scrape. I think we need to work on how much you love your customers, Sandra. Just think, if you sample it well, probably you'll sell more of them, and then you'll be able to purchase more of it. So think of it as, you know, you reap what you sow. Right, Leslie, you've just raised a really good point. Leslie's just saying in the chat, I've only just joined a couple of weeks ago. There is loads of support and there is lots to learn. Leslie, and anyone else who is brand new, what I would suggest to you is that you start with your starter kit. This is our 40th anniversary year. It isn't our 40th anniversary month. So I would say get really good at workshops using your starter kit. Everybody needs to be introduced to the facial range, because that is about 60% of what we sell are the facial products. Now you'll find, Leslie, tonight and other newbies that, for instance, Calendula Cleanser is one of the products that we're going to feature in our Heritage Facial. It's actually in your starter kit as well. So if you decide you want to include a little bit of heritage information on it whilst you're doing your starter kit facial, you'll have that information after tonight. But be really good at doing your starter kit, do lots of workshops with that, and then when you're ready, you can do the heritage workshop later in the year, because it's for the whole year. It doesn't have to be done at this point. Okay. And you're right, Sandra, the starter kit does have everything you need. Right, so good, glad you like the idea. So here we go, first product. So this is for the foot soak. Now you know the journey, let's do the products. So what I've done is I've included the year that that each of the products was first for sale in Nealshard Remedies. This is a circa 1989, because we're not completely sure of the date of this one, but it just shows, doesn't it, only 8 years into the company. And I've tried with the imaging, you can copy that from your cue cards electronically if you want to have that as a screen share on your workshops. If you don't, it's really fine. You don't need to show them the image. I thought it would be quite nice for you to have some branding from those decades as we go. And obviously rosemary is just amazing in its fragrance. It's very good for concentration and focus. Elderflower is that beautiful white hedgerow flower. I'm sure many of you make elderflower cordial in about May. And this one has got lemon and pine oils in it as well. So lemon essential oil and the pine oils just add just a different fragrance to it. I love this shower gel, and it was a fairly recent addition to our collection in MWOW Organic, and I purchase it often because I love the fragrance. So treat yourself to a bottle of that you're going to be able to sample out into the little tester pots for your customers. And when they're about to do their foot soak, you're going to obviously send them instructions beforehand to say you'll need a washing up bowl with some water, hot water in it. And I always tell them, have it too hot to start with, because by the time you've got everybody on and everyone's had a bit of a chat, that water's been cooling down. for 10 minutes. So it wants to be a little bit hotter than is comfortable for their feet right from the get-go in the workshop. So it's got time to cool down a bit. I don't know if you find the same, Michelle, when you're doing foot soaks that are popular. Some people have to dash off to get some more cold water because they've made it so piping hot it hasn't cooled down enough. And some people need to go and flick the kettle. So you might find people dashing off for a few minutes to get their water to the right temperature, but it's worth that little bit of chaos in your workshop so that everybody has a nice relaxing foot soak. There is nothing worse than a cold foot soak on a not that warm day. Lovely in the summer, but not just yet. Chamomile and elderflower are there as skin conditioning ingredients. So this is a treat one for those of you who haven't tried it. It's probably a new fragrance for many of you. And the great thing is, ladies, is that when you've sampled it out to everybody, not only have you had the chance to do several foot soaks in your workshop, but there is going to be quite a lot of the product left in the bottle. So guess who gets to finish that up? So Sandra, surely that's a trade-off for your generous sharing of your Arnica South. So whilst their feet are soaking in there, that's what then when you're going to talk about the history of the company, use the cue card that I showed you at the beginning with a bit of a timeline, tell them your story, and everyone's just having a lovely good soak. And maybe they've got questions, maybe you want to show them a little video about Neelshad Remedies, up to you. How you play that bit. But at the point where everyone's had enough of soaking, you're going to get the Arnica salve out. And I've got on my 1994 was Arnica salve. You can see there are some key film launches and some key moments in history that might take some of you a bit of a throwback to 1994. Just work out for yourselves how old you were in that year. That was my second year at university. And look at that original pot of Arnica salve, a muscle salve as it was called there. Isn't it lovely to see the originals and just to see how little our packaging has changed? So it's got the same skin nourishing oils and beeswax and essential oils as way back then in 1984. It's Soil Association certified organic, and it's great for after exercise. And even just down to looking at what the label says, I don't know if you can read it on the yellow label, but the original pot says a stimulating salve to massage into muscles before and after exercise. The new pot says massage into muscles before and after exertion, not to be used on broken skin. Not much of a different message, really, is it, in 37 years? I just think that's incredible. So sharing that one and talking about how it's good for exercise and just, just any kind of physical exertion. So it's a lovely one, for instance, if you've been out in the garden all day, or you've been digging for a couple of hours, or you've got a muscle strain, it's just really good for any kind of exertion, not just exercise as people think of it as running or cycling or long walks. My son used to love this one for after rugby, when his legs were aching, and he just used to love me massaging that into his calves. And if anyone's a sports massage therapist, this is a really good one to add to your kit. Any other comments or knowledge on Arnica salve? Do put it into the chat if anybody's got anything to add about this particular product. It'd be good. Oh, nice, Dee. Good for growing pains. Yeah, really nice. That's a nice addition to the card. Okay, so the other thing I was going to say is that I've deliberately kept the cue cards with a white background, partly to enable you to print them more easily, but also actually, if you want to, you can just sort of jot notes, like for instance, we've just had that one about rubbing it into aching muscles or growing pain legs, that kind of thing. You can just jot notes on your cards. So What I tend to do with my cue cards is I print them onto printable card, and they last a lot longer than paper copies. So I think once you've got them, it's worth just storing the cards individually, and you can then pull them out and use them again for future events. Okay, so then we've got Remedy to Roll Relaxation. So 2005 was the launch of this one, and it went with the original Remedy to Roll range. Have a look at that. They were called Nighttime, Passion, yes, really, Energy and Travel. And of course, we've still got Nighttime, Energy and Travel. I'd love to know the story of where the Passion Remedy to Roll went to. And I'm just wondering whether Women's Balance has filled the gap there somewhere. I don't know, that's totally my supposition. But interesting story. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of that. I'm just picking up, you're right, it should, I've done a typo there. It's 27 years, not 37 years on the Arnica Sal, so I'll change that on the cards. Well done, those of you who are good at maths. So how are we going to sample this one? I got a top tip on this from Xenia Stambridge, who is one of our founding leaders, and she says if you prise off the lid of with the little roller ball into it, you're probably going to need to use a knife to kind of ease that lid out of the bottle. You can dip one of the little tester strips into the Remedy to Roll Relaxation. Don't put it too far in, because obviously you don't want the blend inside to travel too far up the stick. Balance it on top of a dish or something to let it dry out a bit, and then just seal the end in a little bit of cling film or something like that. I would suggest not using foil. I know we try and stay away from plastics, but with foil, it actually alters the fragrance of the essential oils slightly. So I think for a tiny little square of cling film, that's okay. You can just wrap the end of the stick, and that way people are going to be able to enjoy this fragrance of lavender, bergamot and frankincense before they have their facial. So one of the other instructions, of course, at this point when they're inhaling this lovely Remedy to Roll Relaxation, is their feet are now deliciously covered in Arnica salve. They need to have had some fluffy socks or a nice dry towel to wrap their feet up in for the next bit of the process. So remember to suggest that they bring socks as well as a bowl of warm water and a towel. Okay, so then we're going to start the Heritage Facial. So Calendula Cleanser was one of the very first products. So 1981, the year that Charles and Diana were married. You've got a couple of other images there of things that happened in that year. And actually, originally, Calendula Cleanser was either in a 40 gram or 100 gram glass jar. When Romy was making those first products, she had two different product size choices. So lots of things were in 40 or 100 gram jars. And then as the range grew, she moved it to just the 50 gram jar that we have today, the little pots that we know and love so well, Wild Rose Beauty Balm size, frankincense hydrating cream size. So Calendula Cleanser would have been in a little jar like that. And then this product went to a tube, which I think was a brilliant move for ease of use and safety in the shower. It's one of the key things that I talk about when I'm promoting this product, is that you can have a cream cleanser.
Hello.
Hello. I'm just going to mute everybody again. Lovely to hear kiddies having their stories in the background. Yeah, one of the things to promote about this product is to have a creamy cleanser that's really easily usable in the shower. So it can be really quick with all the benefits of a creamy cleanser. You only need a pea-sized amount for your whole face. So I think it's one of the ones where it's easy to say to customers, you know, price point wise, this might be a different price point than other cleansers or other moisturizers to that fact than you've bought, but you actually only need a very small amount to do the job. And also the other thing about this cream cleanser is it's got jojoba oil in it. So it's actually nourishing the skin as well as cleansing. And many cleansers leave your skin feeling dry, having stripped the oil out of your skin. And of course, what that means is you have to use more moisturizer to put those oils back in. So it's really worth mentioning the nourishing oils that are in our cleansers. And this one, as I said, is jojoba. Okay, so starting with the cream cleanser and then moving on to our 1986 product, which was Honey and Orange Facial Scrub. So I know lots of you had this in your starter kit too. It is our best-selling scrub, and it's the most scrubby of our 3 facial polishes. So the most gentle one is Palmarosa, in case you get asked, because oily skin needs really gentle handling. The middle one is the Rose facial polish, and both of those two are in tubes. The Honey and Orange facial scrub, because of its consistency and the size of the gritty bits, is still in a pot. The gritty bits are rice powder, and lovely thing to mention in our heritage line there is that actually the original ingredients were all food grade. So honey, rice powder and kaolin, and never have we used microbeads. So in the rest of the journey that everyone else has done in skincare in the last 40 years, there were a lot of plastics being used. We've stuck with our original ingredients and only ever used natural ingredients in our scrubs and polishes. Honey helps to trap moisture into the skin. So when you're talking about its skin conditioning benefits, don't forget to mention it helps to hold moisture into the skin. And the fragrance is amazing. So you've got neroli oil in there, as well as orange, and the honey. Sorry, neroli oil is the blossom of orange, the orange tree. And I just think Honey and Orange facial scrub smells so good you could eat it. Probably a bit gritty on toast, but at least you know that it is rice powder in there and nothing else. It just smells incredible. So if you haven't treated yourself to this product, absolutely be using it. I think what it is so amazing at doing is what it's supposed to do, which is exfoliating the dead skin cells from the surface of the skin. So in the facial, you want them to take it gently because it is a very scrubby facial scrub. Expect everybody to look a little bit pink. And if it's a little bit too gritty for them, suggest that they add back in a little bit of the remaining calendula cleanser that's in their sample pot, because sometimes people prefer it mixed with a little bit of cream cleanser just to soften the grittiness of the product. I do have this one in my shower rack because it's just so much easier to remove under running water. So quite often I'll shampoo my hair, do my facial scrub, and then just stick my head back under the water to remove all the shampoo and a facial scrub from my face. So you will need to give them a little bit of time in the facial to get this off. And the very best thing they can take this off with is a flannel or muslin cloth. People will struggle a little bit more if they're taking this off with cotton pads. So in your pre-instructions, along with the washing up bowl, the towel and the warm socks, is a flannel or muslin cloth to take facial polish off with. And then obviously they'll use that as well to take the cleanser off. Right, we're just going to pause for a moment and just have a look at the chat. Okay, Kate, your question about taking off mascara. It will take off mascara, but you might want to recommend the eye makeup remover because obviously that is our product specifically for eyes, which is good. Everyone's saying how much they love the Honey and Orange. That's nice. Yeah, Michelle mixes it with the cleanser. Good. Yeah, nice tip there, Hazel. Start applying the Honey and Orange scrub and the Beauty Sleep shower oil whilst you wait for the shower to warm up. That's good, like that. Yeah, okay. And then the other thing is to sort of help them understand what a facial scrub does. Once they've used it on their face, get them to apply it to the back of one hand, because quite often our hands are a bit dry anyway. And actually, if they just do it to one hand and then wash that off and then compare hands, they'll probably see quite a profound difference. That's often a bit of a moment in workshops where they're like, oh my goodness, I want to do the other one now. Because obviously what that's doing is getting rid of all the dead skin cells from the surface of the skin and exposing the newer, fresher skin cells underneath. So they'll probably see quite a profound difference. And I think it's one of those products that's sort of anti-aging in its impact, because newer, fresher skin cells reflect the light better. Your skin just looks more revitalized. Because of the exfoliating process, you've brought some blood to the surface as well. It just looks healthier and more radiant. And of course, because you've taken off all the dead skin cells from the surface, now as we get into treatment products in oil and moisturizer, that product is going to, number one, work more effectively because it's nourishing newer, fresher skin cells, not the dead ones. But also you're going to need less of the product, because rather than the skin cells being dry and decaying on the surface, it's gross, isn't it? You're nourishing the skin cells that are vital and newer. So they'll use less product. Okay, all good so far. Any questions, put them into the chat. 1990 came our rose facial oil, and I've got a little image there from one of our very early catalogues. It was actually in a little bottle, like a bit like the rose hip oil that we sell, without a pipette, and the orange flower facial oil had a pipette, but the rose facial oil didn't, probably because it was just how it was from the 1990s. And it was only a few years ago that it converted over to the same bottle as the orange flower and the frankincense facial oils. Look at that, 100 roses of different types. The centifolia is the 100 petaled rose, and then damask rose, 100 of them in every bottle of rose facial oil, which is why it smells so divine. And I think facial oil is one of those products that people need to be introduced to know why they would use it. You know, people are used to moisturizers, they're used to cleansers. Facial oil is kind of another level. So what a facial oil does is it gives your skin's kind of lower level of your epidermis. So the top layer of your skin is where your new skin cells are being formed and are coming to the surface. And a facial oil will help to nourish those skin cells that are coming to the surface. They also support the collagen and elastin proteins in your skin structure. So obviously you don't want to turn this into a biology lesson, but if you think about nourishing the new cells that are coming to the surface, that's why it's helping to replenish the natural balance of your skin's moisture levels, for the new skin cells to be at their very best when they reach the surface. So actually that enables your skin to be in a better condition for the environment that they then hit. And as it says there in the notes that I've written, good for cold, dry weather, with cold winds and central heating drying your skin out, but actually also good if the sun has parched your skin a little bit. Just really good protective layer to include in your facial routine. What I usually say to customers is it's such an important addition to your cleanse and moisturize process to add in cleanse, treat, moisturize would be really good if this is a new product, and it can take just a matter of seconds. So at the point where you're about to get dressed, apply facial oil to your face and your neck and this area here at the top of your chest called your décolleté. Then put your clothes on and then put your moisturizer on. So people are encouraged just literally to take a few seconds to add this in, and really see the benefits of nourishing those skin cells. Facial oils are a finer molecular structure than a moisturizer. That's why they can work at a deeper level in your skin. Okay, hang on, quick message, daughter. To check she's okay. Yeah, she's good. And then we're going to finish off our heritage facial with frankincense hydrating cream. So 2004 was when frankincense hydrating cream came out, but back in the early 80s, the very first product was the frankincense and myrrh cream, which was renamed frankincense nourishing cream. And then that progressed and was developed into frankincense hydrating cream, basically to give a wider audience the impact of frankincense. But nourishing cream was a bit thicker in those days. Ours is a lighter formulation now, but it widened the clientele by having a hydrating cream, basically. So I've again inserted a picture of the original pots. Look how similar that label is. Those are frankincense hydrating creams from 2004. And it is still a bestseller, absolutely, since 2004. Still with frankincense and myrrh essential oils in it, like that original frankincense cream. It's for all skin types, obviously with the benefit of age-defying frankincense, hydrating and rejuvenating skin, and clinically proven to moisturize for up to 24 hours. And then if people do want to try the frankincense nourishing cream, that is just a slightly richer, slightly more oil-based rather than hydration-based pot cream, but actually a lot lighter than it was back then when this hydrating cream was created. Okay, time for some crazy frog in 2005. Wild Rose Beauty Balm. So look at that, 16 years as one of our top sellers and multi-award winners. So this is the one that I said after they finish their facial, you might just want to talk about this in the timeline and just say, you know, many of you have used this this product, and maybe you know, just kind of commenting on the difference in the label of Wild Rose Beauty Balm. It had a normal label on it until its 10th anniversary, only 6 years ago. And basically to celebrate Wild Rose Beauty Balm, the beautiful reddy pink wrap was designed by the lady who had designed the original Be Lovely design. Actually, she was an artist in Bristol called Alice Shields, and there was nothing else that you could do to Wild Rose Beauty Balm to enhance the product for its 10th anniversary other than decorate the wrapper, but customers loved it so much that now the whole range carries the same design. And obviously we had a focus on this last summer with the launch of the Wild Rose Body collection, so people should be quite familiar with that image. And if you've got customers with catalogs, they could turn to that beautiful double page spread of Wild Rose products, or you could screen share your page from your replicated website as well, or the e-catalog if you want to. And as you know, it does loads and loads of things. There is a lovely document in downloads called 10 Ways to Use Wild Rose Beauty Balm. I've just listed a few there in the bottom paragraph on your cue card, but also really good, again, as protection against the weather. So for this time of year, I'd say perfect for gardeners, dog walkers in general, cyclists, runners, you know, and then just encourage customers to think either to share how they use it, or to think, if I was going to go for a pot of this, what would I use it for? And then I've included Be Lovely in this because although it came out in 2011, I think this is one of those products that is perfect for celebrating our campaigning brand. So it's a bit of a word heavy slide, and I just about managed to fit everything in, but I just wanted for you to have easy access to some of the campaigning history behind this range. So the hand cream was the first Be Lovely product, and it was at its launch, as consultants, those of us who were consultants then were collecting petition signatures to petition the government against the use of neonicotinoid pesticides. And we gathered with people who signed the petition online or in stores as well, 120,000 signatures. And the lady who was head of PR at that time actually took them to 10 Downing Street and handed them over the petition signatures. And as a result, for a time frame, there was an EU-wide ban on those pesticides. And the reason for that was the pesticides were so toxic to the pollinators, and we were raising awareness of that issue along with the Soil Association. So actually nothing to do with promoting our product. It was totally about saving the bees. It was being involved in a campaign that environmentally made a big difference. And what we've also done with this range, as the range, you know, it was the hand cream was so well received, the range extended to the products that we've now got. You know, it came in stages, but we've now got a full range of Be Lovely, and such a lovely family friendly range in terms of its sizes, because you're getting 295 mils in the hand wash and the shower gel, whereas normally they're 200 mils, so you get nearly half as much again for the same price. Plastic bottles, which are a bit more friendly for all members of the family, and also just that mandarin fragrance in it is just something that children love, so it works well. Children like the fragrance. But as a result of that wider range, actually also extending the amount of sales of Be Lovely, and that 3% of the sales of the whole range that goes to charities to help save the bees. And some of you may well have seen the provenance story of this, or heard Susan Curtis talking about it at a conference a couple of years ago, this cashew orchard project in Ghana, where actually the farmers were struggling in the production of their cashew nuts because of poor pollination. So what they did is they brought in hives of bees to be better pollinators in those cashew orchards. And now the project has exploded because the farmers have now got far better crops of cashew nuts, but they've also got honey that they can sell, and other ethically harvested bee byproducts like the wax and the propolis. So they've got an additional product to sell, basically. So it's a lovely example of how the company really thinks expansively about a product and about the impact on a community. It's not just about helping a community, it's about really augmenting what they're doing in a very sustainable and ethical way, but one that empowers the people who live there, rather than Neal's Yard Remedies just arriving with their agenda. So just a nice story to talk about that's been going on for 10 years now. 10th anniversary of Be Lovely. And then to wrap it up, going all the way back to 2005, we've got English lavender essential oil. So we've got French lavender and English lavender in our collection. This one is a certified organic oil and is in our top 10 bestsellers. I think it's a really familiar fragrance to people, and this on a scent strip would be a lovely way to round off their relaxing evening. And maybe talk a little bit about memory of lavender. What memory does it evoke? Not just about how does it make you feel, but does it remind you of something? And then you've got the tip there about putting it into their pillowcase that night as well. And your website has got a lot of information about how this can be used in a carrier oil for the bath and shower. So you shouldn't use it neat on your body. Just have a look at the instructions on your Replicator website about this. Inhalation, obviously through the diffusers, but have a look at the details that are on your website for all the different uses of that. So that's the end of it. Hope you enjoy the process, and hopefully your customers will too. I'd love some feedback in the chat. We're just coming up to the hour now. Particular bits that you like, or whether you've got any questions, just let me know before we finish. And then obviously what's nice about this particular list of products, whilst you're typing your questions and comments in, is that because they're key heritage products, you'll see these coming up in marketing that comes from Neil Judd Remedies later, and other things as we go through our 40th anniversary. So once you've introduced your customers to them, they'll get a second look at the same product, which will only reinforce your messaging, won't it? It'll be really nice to have these going on over the next few months. Let's just have a quick look at your comments. Hazel wants to come to one. She says it's a lovely event. The references to things that happened that year, yeah, it's lovely. And without a plot spoiler, I think you might see some of that on Thursday. I think we need to do some throwback in history. So yeah, it was really fun to Google, actually. Just, you know, put a few years into Google and come up with some images. If you want to have a few pictures to screen share and enhance your workshops with that. I was wondering whether it'd be fun to do a quiz if you wanted to take some time, for instance, to search things that happened in 1981. Before you tell them that that's when the company was formed, you could put them up and do a bit of a quiz, guess the year, and then carry that on with each of the products. So when you're doing the year that Crazy Frog happened, I've just thought of that with the Wild Rose Beauty Balm. What year did that happen? What else happened in 2005? Or you could do pictures. Why don't you get them all to share a picture of themselves in 1981? Ness, you can't do this because you're too young. We don't want any embryonic pictures or what do you call them? Ultrasound scan pictures for some of you who were born that year. But if you've got an audience that's old enough, you could guess who is who if it was a group that know each other. We'll see. Right, what else have we got? You like the historical approach. I think our customers are really going to like that, Claire. You know, there is not a brand out there with our 100 out of 100 for ethical status who've been doing this for 40 years. They just haven't. There is no other brand like this. And I think, you know, what's lovely about this as well is that there's a forward thinking element. So take things like the frankincense. I love the fact that they've kept with the original, but they've gone on developing and formulating. And if it isn't broken, they don't fix it. Wild Rose Beauty Balm is a perfect example of that. They perfected the product. Everybody loves it. It's multi-award winning. It's always in the top 3. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But with some products, they've added green technology, green science, improved the formulation. We know that from the frankincense stories. It's really lovely to see a forward thinking as well as a backward thinking appreciation of history. Right, let's have a look. Fits well with the anniversary. Good. Nice to hear the bits of info you didn't know about. Yeah, that's nice. I'm sure there'll be lots more that we learn about this. I'm looking forward to hearing the little snippets of history on Thursday. I know there's some coming for there. Okay. You're gonna use a little tester of the, yes, the mini one of the shower gel. Tanya's saying it was in the little pot of shower gels that we had at Christmas. So if you still got one of those, ransack it and go and have a use of that rosemary and elderflower shower gel. And if not, put it on an order. I know some of you have got orders to do before the end of the month. Now's the chance to use your free and half price shopping. Make sure you've got the testers that you need. Just a little word to the wise, I did see that the Rose facial oil sample sachets were back in stock, so you don't need to sample out those with the pipette into a little pot. Just get hold of the sachets, but don't take long about it. Dawn, good question. Top 10 products. I don't actually know absolutely to date what the top 10s would be. No, sorry. I think it changes month to month, and to be honest, sometimes it changes because of what's been on offer. So, you know, it's if we've had a special promotion, but Wild Rose Beauty Balm is always up there. It's like the format of the workshop. Bit of a mixture of face and body. Yeah, that's nice, good. Heritage hampers with the boxes that Tanya suggested. I like that idea, D. And actually, I was thinking, my boxes arrived today, Tanya. If some of you don't know what I'm on about, Tanya did a little video on my team Facebook group. She's been using little letterbox boxes, so they're the right height for just putting a second class large letter stamp on, so long as you keep it below 100 grams. So have a look out for that video. But I was thinking for my heritage workshop, I might even do a kind of copy and paste of some 1981 stickers, images, and stick them to the box, because they're brown cardboard. Why not decorate the box and make it look a bit retro, with a Neil Shod Remedies logo, or maybe some images of the old products that I've put into your cue cards. Be creative about it. You know, what wow factor do you want when that gets dropped through somebody's letterbox, that is going to be, you know, a kind of a taster of what is to come when they do the workshop with you. Personal favorites, Rebecca, that's good. It's all come good. Maybe put a photo of yourself in 1981 there. That should jazz up the box, Claire. I like that idea. Love it. I want to see that photograph, you in your Welsh dress in 1981 in your street party, Michelle. That's got to be seen. Do you know, let's do it. Let's find some photographs of ourselves in 1981 and post them in the team page. It'd be really fun to start a 1981 bit of a vibe going before Thursday. Some of you are shaking your heads and looking really dubious. Let's face it, guys, they're all going to be awful. So don't think you've got to have beautiful photographs of yourself in 1981. Yeah, okay. It's a shame you weren't on commission for these boxes. Sticking is my expertise with the kids. Cutting and sticking, absolutely. Yeah, you could have the guests coming in 80s dress. Love that idea. I mean, what does the 80s conjure? For those of you who are old enough, for me, it was plastic jewelry. You know, those great big beads we used to wear. Some of you are looking at me like really blank now. Okay, time to wrap it up. It's been so good to share it with you. I've really enjoyed planning it, and I hope that you guys really enjoy planning yours and getting your samples together. Get the word out there. How many of these are you going to host yourself? Can you think of anyone who is of an age who would really enjoy that 1980s throwback, or the timeline, you know, of what have we got? Probably 20 years of the 40 represented in those cue cards and in those products. So who do you know who could do with hosting one of these? Who do you know who you would love to reminisce about those decades early on, or who was originally in the Covent Garden store? Let's hopefully just get the cogs going on who your other hosts are going to be, and time to start planning your diary. I was chatting to somebody today who needs to plan when she does her workshops around when her husband is on an early shift, so he can put the baby to bed. You know, that's a good way, isn't it, of looking through your diary and thinking, right, what nights have I got free? How many of these could I actually do? And for some of us, we're not in that phase of life, or it's not our reality, but we still have to decide, how many of these am I doing in April? How much of this heritage message do I want to get out there? So hopefully I've inspired. Now over to you guys to do the groundwork in your diaries and get the word out there. Any questions, let me know. And I'll change the 37 to 27 years. Sorry about the typo. I don't know whether that was my maths or a typo. I can't remember. But I'll get that sorted and I'll put them in my team group. And then Lucy, I'll send them over to you for Be Lovelies. Is that good? Good news. All the other cue cards are in there, guys, as well. If you haven't spotted them, they're in the belovelies.com website. So sign up for that if you haven't done that yet. All right. Lovely, lovely. Have a great rest of evening. And I'll see, well, I won't see you on Thursday, but I'll see you on Thursday. Make sure you're there, 8 o'clock. All right. Bye.